What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, I'm bringing back a bit of a series that I haven't done in months close to a year now. I think the last time I did an episode was in like September, October last year, and I think it was on like Transformers Energon or something like that. But figures from the past that severely need modern day updates, whether it be in studio series or the heavily rumored introduction of animated and prime characters in studio series at some point, since that was hinted at in 2022. I think that was in San Diego Comic-Con. So whether or not we get these updated animated characters and figures in generations like what we've been getting the past year or two, or if it's more cartoon accurate versions in studio series, I don't know, but I just want these redone in the modern era with better engineering and obviously much better articulation and overall look of the figure. So starting off with this animated line that came out around early 2008 or late 2007, let's start off here with the deluxe class. There's not a whole lot that I want redone that came out in deluxe class. There's a few here, so let's talk about them. First one, Black Arachnia. She's probably the one that needs an update, but doesn't need too much tweaking in her overall design and engineering. I just really want them to fix the gorilla arms she had. Anytime you would rotate the elbow joint, she would always have the gorilla arms. You know, the classic case of figures back then. They didn't give them wrist swivel, or they just didn't engineer the arms the right way to angle up with the elbow joint for whatever reason. That was a problem that went away, thankfully, about 10 or so years ago, so I'm very grateful we don't get that on figures anymore, but that was a problem that plagued a lot of otherwise pretty solid figures back in the day when I was a little kid. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason why I want this Black Arachnia redone. And the next one here, let's talk about the Soundwave mold, because I remember in animated, Soundwave was around the height of maybe Ratchet, or maybe around the height of Bulkhead. No, not Bulkhead. Around the height of Optimus almost, maybe. So in between that height, I remember Soundwave being in the cartoon. I may be wrong, let me know in the comments, but I feel like this Soundwave is a bit too small. Other than that, I think he works as a pretty great figure. I mean, he comes with the guitar laser beak that transforms and everything. It's pretty freaking cool. The van mode looks nice. The robot mode looks nice. Maybe just fix some of the inaccuracies from the cartoon and fix the height. I can't remember if this guy had gorilla arms. I don't think he did. Hold on, I'm looking up images of this deluxe right here. Oh, okay, I remember now. It's a similar case with the Rodimus Deluxe, for any of you who know anything about the engineering on that figure from animated. So you could rotate the arms up regularly to a certain degree. It stops at like a 45-degree angle. But then to get more movement, there's a secondary joint that's like a ball joint on the inside where you can rotate and then get a full elbow bend at like 90 degrees. But then again, you still get the gorilla arms when it's all said and done when you push it all the way up to 90 degrees. So in terms of the arm engineering and potentially the height and certain color inaccuracies, yeah, he deserves at least a he deserves a Voyager class update. Definitely. Nothing more, nothing less. Definitely a Voyager class for this Soundwave here would be really nice. Sentinel Prime, boy oh boy. So this guy was released as a deluxe for whatever reason. I mean, there is a reason. It's because they released certain figures at certain size classes because they wanted it to be cross-marketed with smaller size class figures like Legends class and Deluxe and Voyager. There was a lot of mixing of scales here in animated for whatever reason. So Sentinel was put in Deluxe to be around the same size as the Deluxe Optimus Primes that came out in this toy line. So I guess it makes sense from that point of view, but still, it would have been nice to get a Voyager class Sentinel Prime to go along with the correctly scaled freaking everybody else within the toy line outside of a few outliers. Yeah, this guy mainly just needs to be taller, honestly. Everything else about this guy doesn't really seem too much of a problem with me from what I remember with this mold. I used to have this figure a while ago. I haven't had it for a long time, so I'm just, trying to jog my memory here. But mainly just the height. The look of him, the overall articulation, I think, is pretty decent. I mean, obviously, update all of these with the modern articulation. Ankle pivot, wrist swivel, waist swivel, and swindle. Oh boy, swindle. I don't think he needs much of a height upgrade. It's mainly just the freaking clear purple plastic that they used on all of his limbs, except for the lower parts. They used it on the parts that were super integral to the figure's overall base and articulation, I guess you could say. They used it on the upper arms and the thighs. Just think about that for a second. Ball joints and mushroom pegs on clear plastic arm and leg joints. That is freaking ridiculous and insane. Whoever thought of that at Hasbro back in like 2007, 2006 when designing this figure, you are a madman. And honestly, are you even still working at Hasbro after designing a figure like that? Because that is one of the worst decisions I have ever seen on a Transformers figure. And there are so many stories and horror stories online over the years of this figure just bursting into pieces over the years, with people just messing around with it, transforming it, articulating the figure. So yeah, this swindle severely needs an update with absolutely no clear plastic joints on this guy at all, please. And it would have made for an otherwise pretty fantastic figure. I mean, it's Swindle with a Megatron arm cannon. Like, are you kidding me? That is freaking amazing and so cool. It still remains to be one of my favorite animated designs till this very day. And he just deserves a better figure that doesn't explode into a million pieces when you try and move it or transform it. And the rest for Deluxe here, they're otherwise pretty great figures. I guess with Snarl, I can't remember if he's too small or not. I'm pretty sure the Dinobots were humongous in the cartoon, whether it was Grimlock or not. I'm trying to think if Swoop and Snarl were along more so the sizes of the regular car Autobots in the cartoon, or they were closer to around the bigger size of Grimlock. But I'm sure Snarl and Swoop would need an update. More so Snarl, because he was severely limited in articulation. And he was a bit too stumpy. He was a bit too small, especially in terms of the robot mode. Swoop, not so much. He was pretty cool, especially the chain mace weapon he came with. I actually want to get that Swoop. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Deluxe class. Let's move in to Voyager class, and right off the bat, let's talk about Lugnut. Lugnut, what did they do with this guy? Way too small. Again, it was a part of some of those figures that they did in the more so collector mainline version of animated, where they wanted it to scale with some of the smaller scaled figures from Legends class and Deluxe class, which is fine if you want to pin them against your Deluxe class Sentinel, Optimus, or Legends class Bumblebee and Prowl. I guess that's a fine way to go about it. Or some of your, what were those spring-loaded, semi, sort of Deluxe class figures, but they were smaller and a bit more gimmick-based. I have the Cliff Jumper from that subline. I forgot what it was called. I used to love that when I was a kid. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank. But you could scale them with those too, I guess. So it's not terrible, but obviously you wouldn't want Lugnut to scale with the mainline, Deluxes, Voyagers, and Leaders from animated, and he simply does not. He's way too small. He is around the size of a Deluxe class in robot mode. In jet mode, he is around Voyager class size, so I can't really argue with the jet mode too much, but I hope to God him winning that fan vote means we get either a Leader or Commander class. More so Commander class. Hopefully he is either the Commander class for next year or 2026, because he did win the fan vote, and whenever they do a fan vote for characters and a figure wins, it means that we are going to get a new figure of that character in the coming years. And Skybite, I think it was Skybite who won the RAD 2001 fan vote. I think that was last year or the year before, around the same time they did the Lugnut fan vote. And he's already getting a Voyager class next year. So I don't know what the holdup is with Lugnut. Maybe they're trying to fit him in when they feel is right within either leader class or commander class, because that would make sense. It is harder to fit in characters that you want all the time with leader class and commander class, because obviously there are lesser slots to fill in each year. You get 2, 3, or 4 slots for leader class every year, and you get 1 slot a year for commander class. 1 slot each, for Studio Series in mainline generation. So I can understand why it may take a little longer for Lugnut, especially with him being a bigger, more complex character than Skybite. But still, it's been almost 3 years since that fan vote for Lugnut. We got to be seeing him either next year or 2026 at either leader class or commander class. I hope it's commander class, but I would also take leader. But he just needs a severe update in terms of the size, because it is absolutely horrible as is right now. Grimlock, he definitely needs the Studio Series 86 Dinobots upgrade for leader class. He's way too small at Voyager, and yeah, this figure just does not work in terms of the size. The look and articulation of him, I think, is still pretty good. It's just, he's just too small. It's as simple as that. He needs to be bigger, and hopefully one day we get a nice leader or commander class animated Grimlock. I would salivate at the mouth more so than the G1 Dinobots getting new figures, because the animated designs, the Fall of Cybertron game designs, and the Age of Extinction designs are my favorite for the Dinobots. So any of those done as figures in the modern era that are accurate, I will absolutely salivate over. So yeah, leader class animated Grimlock, please. And next up here for Voyager class, Starscream. Now this guy pretty much works, other than, I don't know, maybe him suffering from gimmick transformation and gorilla arms. This guy has some of the worst gorilla arms you can imagine, especially for a character like Starscream. I don't know why they decided to engineer the arms the wrong way on a character like freaking Starscream from animated. The transformation just hampers the overall functionality and overall accuracy of the character. If they gave him more engineering instead of just the flip down spring-loaded gimmick, I don't know why they decided to do that. Maybe it was budget reasons. Maybe they just thought it would be a fun gimmick for the figure. I don't know. Those 2 reasons alone make this guy a pretty good candidate for somebody who needs an update in the modern era, because yeah, those gorilla arms and that spring-loaded simple-ass transformation for a Voyager is not cutting it for me at all. But other than that, the overall look and the height of him is pretty good. Maybe he should be a tad bit shorter or something, but yeah, he's got to do away with those 2 things, definitely. Moving into the last mainline size class, the only one, leader class had some bangers in animated, and this one I'm kind of like grasping at the straws here a little bit. I own all 3 animated leader class figures, and they're all fantastic in their own right. But I gotta say, the one that is the weakest out of them all has to be Bulkhead, simply for the main reason that his head cannot articulate. They put it on a stupid gimmick spring-loaded joint for the electronics, and it is absolutely terrible. Man, it ruins an otherwise amazing leader class Bulkhead figure. This was the last and only time we got a leader class Bulkhead, and his head can't even rotate. You can rotate the head one way, but it's spring-loaded and it flips right back into place, unless if you have some sort of mechanism that you jam it in place so the head stays in that rotated state. But it just flips right back in place due to it being spring-loaded, and it sucks. I hate it. And it ruins an amazing Bulkhead figure, because the weapons, the gimmicks on this guy while they are inaccurate to the cartoon, they just add so much character and play factor and just options that makes this guy so fun to mess around with. And he comes with the headmaster gimmick, which is so cool. There are some inaccuracies with the robot mode, that they give him the Cybertronian mode treads for Bulkhead for whatever reason on this figure, when he's supposed to have the regular Earth mode treads. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But it still looks cool, you know. It's Bulkhead with feet treads. That's still pretty cool to me. But yeah, it just ruins it for me, him not having any head articulation except for that spring-loaded joint. And it just makes him the weakest out of all the leader class figures. I mean, Megatron is fantastic. Ultra Magnus is fantastic with all the weapons he has. And you got Bulkhead here, who's fantastic in every other right. But then you get to the articulation head, and it's like, WTF, Hasbro. How am I supposed to mess around with my Bulkhead now? So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, with Leader Class, Voyager Class, and Deluxe Class from the old animated toy line. Brought back a lot of memories from 2008 and 9. You know, these were the golden times. If you grew up during this time for Transformers, from around Beast Wars to about 2014, you were living in the golden age of Transformers. And you kids now growing up with 2015 to now with Transformers, it's got its moments here and there, but it's nowhere near as cool as it was 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, you know. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Let me know down in the comments below. Who do y'all think needs an update the most from the animated toy line? All my social medias are linked down below. My email is also linked down below if y'all want to hit me up about business inquiries, or if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to subscribe to my new Patreon link down below. It's got tons of exclusive content that I won't see here on YouTube or anywhere else, such as exclusive stop motions, Transformers photography. You guys get 1 week access before everybody else here on YouTube to my stop motion films, Discord access, exclusive music and music snippets from my stop motion films, behind the scenes of projects I'm working on, such as dioramas, videos, photography, and stop motions. So if you guys want to help support me and help support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye!